Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 74 of the Hey Everybody podcast, henceforth known as the one about pizza. This podcast for the next whatever minutes is going to be about pizza. We'll see if we can't find some depth in that. So like last week or the week before, I started feeling like this impending funk. That'd be a good name for like a tribute band, Impending Funk, where we just do, Parliament Funkadelic covers and that kind of thing. Anyway, Morris Day and the Time. I can't say Morris Day and the Time without hearing it in Jay's voice from Jay and Silent Bob. I felt this funk coming on, and the funk was the result, I'm pretty sure, of just, we're getting into 2 years of COVID living. And for me personally, that has meant many things, as it has for a lot of us. And it hasn't been as bad for me as it has been for a lot of people. But it has meant largely the complete putting on hold of my job as I want to do it. And the only thing that I've ever wanted to do with my life professionally, I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good dad. But when I was 8 or 9, like a bolt of lightning, it just hit, be a musician. That's all I wanted to do ever. There were flashes of, if I have to do something else while I try to be a musician, I guess I could make my peace doing this or that. But for the most part, I've only ever wanted to be a musician, be a songwriter. And for the most part, that's only ever meant drive around and play music for people. And for 2 years, I haven't really been able to do that. And it starts to wear on you. I mean, having a dream at all can wear on you a little bit. It can have a downside that people don't really talk about. I think a lot of people approach life as like, you'll figure out what you want to do, and then you will try to go do it. And maybe in the course you'll change your mind, and you'll try all kinds of different things. But another option is you can almost be born knowing exactly what you want to do, and then spend the next 30, 35 years being told, nah. And that wears on you, having a very clear image of what you'd like your life to be like and not being able to get there. So I was feeling frustrated. And then this weekend, it was hard this weekend. Some stuff came up. I was going through some stuff. I don't want to get into the specifics of it because I don't think it matters that much for the purposes of this conversation about pizza. And I think sometimes we can get input or advice from a person, and knowing too much about where that person's coming from can sort of affect how we see the advice. Like if someone tells you, hey, the best things in life are not going to be things at all. They're not going to be about money. You need to go find a thing that brings you joy and people you want to share that joy with, and stop worrying about accomplishments and success and that kind of thing. That feels like great advice. But then if you find out that you just heard it from a guy who's got $10 million in the bank, a part of you, or a part of me at least, goes, well, yeah, dude, must be nice. Like, that's why you're free to, So I don't want to tell you specifically what was going on, because I don't want you to go like, I wasn't going through that, so this advice is pointless or whatever. But it's just hard. And last week, a commercial came on TV while I was watching football on Sunday, and it was for a pizza. And I'm going to tell you, I've talked about it before. I don't like being marketed to. I don't like commercials, and they're always trying to be funny and they're not, or they're trying to be inspiring, but I know what's underneath it. And it's just, I usually don't even want to buy this stuff anyways. And it's just so much all the time coming at you, the billboards and the commercials and the interrupting your podcasts and this tour is brought to you by whoever. And I get the necessity of it and the importance of it. but oh, I don't like it, and I'm used to tuning out. And there's this part of me that's like independent punk rock part of me that's like, you can't market to me anyways. I ain't gonna be tricked by you. I know how you shoot these things, and deep down you're probably just a big corporation. You're crooked anyways, and I'm not supporting you. Enter the pizza. See a commercial for this pizza place, and they got a new kind of pizza. It's like a New York style pizza, and it's big, and it's floppy, and you can fold it, and it's cheese on it, and it's, oh yeah. And I looked at it, and I turned to Tori, and I went, I want that pizza. And because I'm a grown up, and because I'm responsible enough with my finances to almost always have at least $20 in the bank, I reached out to this pizza place the very next day, and I made arrangements to get one of these pizzas. Fully, I even said this to Tori and Ollie when we ordered the pizza. I was like, I know it's not going to be good, but it looks so good, and I want it. And I think, honest to God, in the backdrop of this career that I want and this life that I want and this travel that I can't do and all this stuff that I can't have, but I want so bad. Here's a pizza. I want it. I'm goddamn getting it. So, but I told him it's probably not going to be very good. Ugh. We ordered us up one of these pizzas, and it was so good. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. It was perfection. It was doughy and warm and cheesy and nice. And I loved it. I loved it. And I loved the feeling of like, that's one for the good guys. You know, I wanted it. It looked good. I got it. It was good. It's perfect. It's fantastic. I wish Tori and Ollie were here because they would tell you, like, I went on about this pizza for days about just how nice it was. Like, how about that? You want something, you get it. It's exactly what you hoped it would be. That almost never happens. Hallelujah. Cut 2. I have a hard weekend. Dealing with a lot. And I'm talking to my wife. We're sending each other messages back and forth. And it's also like -8 degrees outside right now. And she says, so I got to go to the store after work if you want to come with me. She and I have been having a lot of fun going to the store together. And people watching and just hanging out. It's nice. It's a wonderful thing to have someone in your life that you can honestly say, like, I like going to the store with her. That's fun. And she says, do you want to come with me? I know it's really cold outside. And then she goes, or I guess we could just order another one of those pizzas. And I felt a burden sort of lift. Something jostled when she said, or we just order one of those pizzas. I know how much you like that pizza. And I'm not kidding when I say, like, this weekend was hard. Like, tears came, and I was angry, and I was anxious, and I didn't sleep, and it was awful. And when the love of my life said, you know, I could just get you one of those pizzas, a part of me really did go, oh, really? We could have, oh, let's do that. Let's get the pizza. And for a second, I had been telling her I don't know what the podcast is going to be about today. And she said, well, I hope you figure it out. And I said, maybe I'll just do it about that pizza. And then I realized I can do that. I could do a podcast about the pizza. And here's the thing about the pizza that is worth doing a podcast about. I have read a lot of books and listened to a lot of people and studied things and listened to things and watched things and meditated and been to therapy and all these things that were helpful and good. But I think it got me thinking that things that are helpful and good have to be big and profound and that kind of thing. And I personally am a big believer in, like, if you're not feeling well, if you're feeling depressed or anxious or sad or down or what have you, if you think it might help to order up a pizza and watch some football with your wife and your son let that be as profound and big as it can be. Maybe it won't be that big. Maybe it'll just be a little band-aid. Or maybe for whatever reason, like me, and I'm sure there's layers to it. I'm sure part of what I'm feeling right now is that my wife cares about me enough that when I'm struggling, she thinks back and like, well, what made him happy? What's cheered him up in recent time? We'll give him that pizza again. I'll rub his back a little bit. I'll put on a record he likes. I'll whatever. But occasionally life accidentally or whatever will just give you a win. And I think we're sort of programmed to not notice the little ones, and we're sort of conditioned to not celebrate little ones and almost feel like, whatever feeling I was having previously must not have been valid if it can be fixed with a song or a poem or a piece of pizza. Or whatever feeling I had was so valid, it couldn't possibly even be helped along by a movie or a stand-up act or a piece of pizza. But sometimes if you let it, it just, there's little things out there. And I do think you have to play your part in it. You have to get excited about the pizza. You have to sit down to the movie thinking, I want to laugh. But I'll tell you, I got an infusion of optimism and joy, because in about 5 hours here, I'm going to have a piece of that pizza back in my hand where it belongs, and it's going to be glorious. And I'm going to watch football I don't care about and not think about things, and it's going to be great. That's hot coffee. So there's that. We did an episode about pizza. Zen and the art of ordering a pizza. The mindful benefits of having a pizza. And the other stuff's still there too. I think a lot of times we get stuck on like, I have not been helped if the feeling remains, if the issue remains, if the thought remains. Sometimes help just means like, hey, for 10 minutes, let's have a pizza and not worry about, I've had people going through heavy stuff, loss of a parent, disease, all kinds of stuff. And sometimes we get together and we talk about it, and we lock into each other and we try to help each other. Other times we get together and we talk about, that concert we went to back in the day, or just crack jokes. And people will tell you, that was what I needed at the moment, and that helped me in the moment. It doesn't always help, but we need to let the world show up for us in that way ourselves. We need to give ourselves permission to go like, you know what? I'm not going to meditate about this. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to write about it. I'm not going to try to track some reading down to do about it. I'm going to get a pizza, and I'm going to tell my brain, hey, for the next 20 minutes, we're on a cheese program, okay? Take your worry and your anxiety and your sadness and shove it, because we got some pizza coming. So that's that. I hope you guys have a good pizza tonight, or something, And then the important thing too I have found is keep track of that stuff. Keep track of the song that worked last time and try it this time, or the poem, or the comedy bit, or the friend, or the piece of pizza, And I hope to God that you guys are all lucky enough to be sharing that pizza with a wife like mine and a son like mine, or people like the people I have. And I also hope that, it's a big pizza, so you don't have to share too much of it. Let's do some recommendations, and let's get you out of here. I just finished this book. It's called Dangerously Funny, The Uncensored Story of the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. I love the Smothers Brothers. I really do. And I got back into the Smothers Brothers very recently because I heard a podcast where they were talking about this book. And my son is 12. And obviously there's a generational gap there. And he likes to show me memes and that kind of thing. And sometimes they're very funny, and we bond over a shared sense of humor. sometimes I just don't get it. I don't understand the delivery and the lack of timing and the fact it's just not funny, and it's referencing a song I've never heard, and I'm a million years old. So I said, hey man, I'm going to play the Smothers Brothers for you, sort of thinking that it would be a funny joke that, like, this is how I feel when you show me memes. Like, he wouldn't get it and that kind of thing. Turns out he thought it was pretty funny because it's timeless, you see. It's very funny. So we've been listening to a lot of the Smothers Brothers here in our house, and I'm in the process of tracking down all their records and trying to, I have 3 of them, and I'm trying to get all of them, and there's a lot. But I got this book, and I read it, and it's like 360 pages, and it's worth it. I loved it. The Smothers Brothers are hilarious and genius and very important. A lot of like political comedy probably wouldn't exist without them. TV wouldn't look the way it does without them. We probably wouldn't have stuff like The Daily Show and The Colbert Report and that kind of thing. So if you're into the Smothers Brothers, which you should be, I think you'll enjoy this book. It was a pretty quick read. I really liked it. So yeah, the Smothers Brothers. Get into that. Up next, oh my gosh, we did the theme last week with the recommendations. The answer, by the way, someone got it in the comments, very good, was they were solo albums by the 2 members of a band called Two Gallants. And that was fun. So let's do it again. I have another theme for you, okay? And the first person to guess this theme gets nothing, because I have nothing to give, and I don't want to share my pizza with any more people because there's only so many slices. First, this record is called Kinsugi by a band called Death Cab for Cutie. They're from Seattle, Washington. I like them a lot. They're not a small band. They're a very popular band. They're a very successful band. A lot of people know them. But this record, I think, is one of their most underrated. It's one of my most favorites from them. It's a later period record, but it's wonderful. And it's sort of feels like a little bit new ground for them. Like it's a little bit, it's hard to say. I would just encourage you to listen to it, but it's very concise and catchy, but also weighty at the same time. And I really like it. You know, a song like Little Wanderer, or You've Haunted Me All My Life, or No Room in Frame, or Black Sun. It's so good. So listen to this record. It might be one of my top 3 by them. It's a hard game to play because they've been around my entire adult life and have been a part of my listenings my entire adult life. So it's hard to pick favorites, you know? I saw them on the Transatlanticism tour in Milwaukee. It's funny how many people I've met since that when we talk about Death Cab, everybody was at that show and we didn't know each other at the time, but it's fun. Up next, we got a Canadian band called the Rural Alberta Advantage. Ollie likes to make fun of me because I struggle with the word rural. The Rural Alberta Advantage. This record's called Mended with Gold. Like I said, they're from Canada, and they're a fun band because they're like an indie rock band, but there's a lot of acoustic guitar. They're very tight. They're a 3-piece. Fun thing about this band, so they have a singer, guitar player, plays acoustic guitar, and he sings. He's got a very unique voice. They have a great drummer who's very inventive. And then they have a woman singing harmonies, playing keyboards, and playing bass with her feet. It's phenomenal. She's wonderfully talented. I like this band a lot. I like this record a lot. It opens with a song called Our Love, which is really, really, really good. Vulcan, Alberta, also really, really good. I think you'll like it. So check out Mended with Gold by the Rural Alberta Advantage. And if you can tell me what connects those 2 records, you know, I'll give you a free pick next time I see you. And then finally, I wanted to do a thing where I recommend a record you might not like. Because I listen to a lot of heavy music and like punk rock music and even some hip hop and that kind of thing. I don't talk about it on the podcast because I think the whole point of a recommendation is that you think someone might like it. And I don't know how much the viewing audience of this will enjoy every single thing I enjoy. But then I was thinking some of you might, and this thing is free, so it doesn't hurt anything to recommend something that maybe only one of you will like. So I'm going to start throwing more of those in. We're going to talk more about heavy stuff and loud stuff and weird stuff. And we're going to open with kind of a weird stuff that some of you may be familiar with. It was a popular record in its day. Boom. This record is called Alopecia, and it's by a band called Y with a question mark. WHY question mark. Alopecia. This band is a band. They're a full band, drums, guitar, that kind of thing. And then a guy up front rapping and singing, a Jewish dude. And I think that catches people's eyes sometimes. You don't see a lot of Jewish hip-hop dudes with a full live band behind them. This record is superb. It's catchy. It's funny. It's absurd. It's bizarre. He'll make you blush sometimes. The statements on Alopecia by Y do not necessarily reflect the ownership's stance here at the Hey Everybody podcast. But you should listen to it. It's good. It's really fun. I like it a lot. And as a testament to just seeking out new stuff, I had never heard this band. When I did, and I asked people about it, they're like, oh yeah, you got to get that record, Alopecia. It's so good. I found out about this band because their singer has a podcast called The Wandering Wolf. And he interviewed a musician I like a lot. And he kept talking about his band. And I was like, well, I got to find this dude's band. And I like it a lot. So yeah, check it out. Oh, it's a good record, man. Real good record. So check it out. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. It's not a big deal. You have all the time in the world to listen to stuff. All right. I will leave you with this because she's smarter than me. She doesn't have a podcast. I told my wife that I had had a bad weekend. And she corrected me and said it wasn't a bad weekend. It was a hard weekend. And I told her I didn't want to do the podcast because I feel like a hypocrite. I don't want to do a podcast about mindfulness. This was before the pizza fixed all my problems. I said I don't want to do a podcast about mindfulness and how everything's going to be okay and that kind of thing after having a weekend where I didn't feel that way. And she gently reminded me that it's not hypocritical. Just, you're a human being and you have things. And she helped. Maybe it can be very hard on myself. I think we can be very hard on ourselves. And she helped remind me that, like, you did all the stuff you recommend on the podcast when you were having a hard time. You read some stuff and you listened to some happy stuff and you got close with your family and tried to turn it around. And it was hard sometimes, and sometimes it couldn't be turned around. But sometimes effort is all we have until the pizza gets here. All right. I hope this made sense. I can't imagine that it did. I sometimes I marvel at the fact that anybody watches these. It's a very small group of people, but I would say enough people watch this that, like, if every one of my shows had this number of people attentively watching, I'd be thrilled. So I keep doing them, and I get nice messages from people saying that they're getting something out of it. So I hope my beard didn't distract you. It's wintertime, so this is going to get rowdy and unruly and just grayer by the day. Ollie likes to take credit for each one of those gray hairs, and probably he should. Him and, some politicians. All right. Be good. Do some good. Take it easy on yourself. Take it easy on the people around you. Let yourself think that people are doing their best, if only for a minute, to help yourself. And, keep track of the good things in life too, so that you can call on them when you need them. I'm excited about this pizza, you guys. I love you.